Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. I want to talk about God, we the people, and the Constitution. I travel. I'm half Chinese, half American, born in the United States. I've had to explain myself throughout my whole life. And a lot of times, the people that listen are normally non-Americans. And I don't mean non-Americans like I made a video talking about true Americans. I'm talking about non-Americans like they're not in the United States. They think, they hear of the American dream, they hear of people making money and doing things with their lives here in the United States. And then I see them. Either I'm in their country or they've come to the United States and I'm taking them around, showing them around, stuff like that. And so I've had to explain. And all countries get a propaganda, misinformation. And most of the time, they get their information from our media in the United States. And we all know that the major medias in the United States, they're all corrupt, no different than the government. They're part of the draining the swamp. How they're able to mislead people, put out misinformation and this type of stuff, and they're not being held accountable, shows us that we've lost our First Amendment about the freedom of speech. And they attack people. The media attacks people that want to express themselves, and so it's difficult to express yourself. And but anyway, so when I'm talking to these foreign people, I have to put it in perspective on how the United States is different. The thing is, I'm not a rich man, and I go to a lot of these countries, and I see a lot of rich people. And so these people are rich. They travel all over. They got fancy cars. They got fancy houses. They got all this kind of stuff. So when it used to be, I would say, well, I'm a free man. Well, people don't understand what free is. Foreign people don't understand because they're doing the same thing I am. And here in the United States, people don't really understand about being free. They're so tied up in the system that they're not free, but they tell themselves they are. Kind of like these foreign people that I'm in their countries, and they tell themselves they're free. They can do anything I can do. I'm a free man. They can do anything I can do. And this is the way, that's why it's difficult for me to explain. So, but through the years, I've had to kind of try different ways of explaining and trying to get people to understand. And I can see it now here in the United States. Since we had Obama, a foreigner for president, a Muslim for president, it really shows you how people don't understand what it is to be an American. And so I'm going to try to break it down here. Okay, now, the first thing that separates the United States from, I believe, any other country in the world is the number one thing in the United States is God. And it's not just any God. It's kind of based on Christian God, using Christian values and Christian morals. So, and if you believe in this Christian God, and you act appropriate, you will have Christian values, and you will have morals that are pretty easily determined. Now, you hear me say on my videos, I'll say my God. And the reason I say my God is because I've got distinct ways I need to live my life. And it's according to my God. And I would say, I know some people say, well, you know, I've got the same God and this type of stuff. Well, if these people have the same God, they wouldn't be doing these bad things. So in other words, they will say they have the God, but they don't. One of the things that I really talk about is when I was in Central America, and I'm getting robbed, and the corruption, and everything is so bad, and just about all of them. Well, not so much now, there's not so much, but you can pretty much count on, if there's going to be a group that's going to mug you, you can pretty much count on they're Catholics, and it's a Christian type, Christian-based religion. So, you know, they may go to church and all this kind of stuff, and they may say they are Christians, but they're not. They don't understand the values and the morals. So, and this is where unalienable rights come from, is this God. And I believe everyone in the world has got these rights. But they choose not to use them, or they weren't educated. They weren't taught that they've got these rights. And so they don't even know how to use these rights. And I really wasn't taught, because I say I didn't come from a Christian family. But I had to learn why and how it works. And this is one reason why, that I've owned businesses. I've done things. I've gone places. I've done a lot of stuff, and that's because I've got the freedom to do all this stuff. I don't have the fear that stops me from doing a lot of things. So that's what I'm saying. It's because of my faith. And now, let me see. I'm trying to figure out how to say this so everybody understands. This is very important. Okay, so God is the number one thing in the United States. And then the next is we the people. And that is not we the people like a collective. It's we the people as individuals. You hear me talk about strong individuals. And that's because I go to socialist, communist countries in which they're part of a collective. And so they think like a collective. They run their lives like a collective, even though, and it's really weird because, like I say, when I was in China, I see all these rich people. Now, how are you part of this collective when you're rich and these other people are poor? I don't understand. So, but like I say, they're not Americans, and even America, we have that choice. Remember, from God, so we can prosper, we can do things, but we choose not to. We choose to go into debt. We choose to follow the herd, get into the collective type thinking. That's where these socialists, communists, snowflakes, New World Order people come from. They've already given up their freedoms and liberties, and they want us to do it also. But the thing is about our unalienable rights are we have them. Yours don't affect mine. So you can do what you want to. I mean, whatever you want to do, you can do it. So it's we the people. These are really important in the United States. Okay, number 3 is the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't regulate the people. We the people. The Constitution regulates the government. So it tells the government what it can and cannot do. It doesn't really tell the people what we can and cannot do, because we control the government. That's a whole lot different. A simple, good example is like British. The British are subjects. They're subjects of the state. So their rights are given to them by the government. And a lot of companies or a lot of countries do like that. They don't call them subjects. A lot of times they'll tell them, well, we're free, we're strong, we're doing. Well, yes, you may be, but God isn't number one. Now, if you, and this is where I get really excited, is these people that want to take away our guns. Okay, that has nothing to do. They can give up their guns. If they want to pay more taxes, they can pay more taxes. They can do this. They're free to do this. But they don't have the right to tell us what we can do, we the people. But if they think they have that right or obligation or whatever, I don't know what they're thinking. If they do think this, they're really not Americans. They may be born American. They may even have a paper saying they're American. But they're not. And more than likely, they're going to fall into socialist, communist, New World Order type. You know what I mean? Because they need to control others. That's what the collective is all about, controlling others. So, and if you don't believe in God, and you are in the United States, then you've given up what God gave you. And He gave you these choices, and you've given them up. And now, when we have the right to defend ourselves, and you don't think so, that you've done given up on God, because God gave us that responsibility to take care of ourselves, self-defense. All the countries I go to, self-defense really ranks down. They don't want people defending themselves because it's collective. But here in the United States, because of God is why we have that right to defend ourselves. Don't forget that. And because of the Constitution, we have the right to control our government. And when our government kind of gets out of hand, not only we have the right, but we have the obligation, according to the Constitution. This is why all these weirdos want to get rid of the Constitution or change the Constitution, do some stuff like that, because we've got that obligation to make adjustments. And that's why I'm not a big revolution kind of guy, but I do believe there might be a time when we're going to have to reset. We're going to have to explain to these weirdos how our Constitution works. And then we're going to have to maybe back it up. And self-defense not only goes for you and me as individuals, but it also goes as we the people. And it also falls under the Constitution. Self-defense, defending our Constitution. That's our way of life. Just something to think about. This is Mike. NoStressMike.com.